There has been a lot of smoke on the Kadyn Proctor to the Browns train, and Todd McShay came out on Wednesday and connected the Alabama left tackle to the Browns at a spot I don't think anyone was thinking. Let's take a listen.
Didn't he? Okay, go ahead.
What if I told you that Kadyn Proctor, offensive tackle, Alabama, could be the number 6 overall pick to the Cleveland Browns?
I would call you a troll who knows that I have high blood pressure, and that's dangerous. I don't know why you would do that to me.
I got a text from somebody who's talked to somebody who actually has information. What are you hearing about Proctor and the Cleveland Browns? I was like, wouldn't surprise me. They pick at 24. But I also responded with kind of hearing that Proctor could go a little bit earlier than 24, so I'm not sure that he would still be there. Then in the last 72 hours or so, I had another person that I trust say, hey, there's some real stuff with the Browns and Proctor. And so I circled back to the first person who texted me a few weeks ago, and I said, yo, when you were talking about Proctor and the Browns, were you talking about 24 or 6? He's like, my understanding was 6. When I say he could go 6 overall, you have like a visceral effect.
The tape's just not good enough. He's vulnerable as a pass blocker. He gets beat to the inside a lot. And he's also what I call, and a lot of other people call, a heel clicker. And what a heel clicker is someone who gets their feet too close together, and now you've lost your base. Now you have this 350-pound offensive tackle that you actually see at times on tape get pushed around. I think the next thing that comes down that really scares me is the weight. I mean, reportedly got up to close to 400 pounds last year.
The Browns are absolutely building for 2027. What they wanted to do in the offseason was to build their offensive line, okay? This, to me, feels like they would be trying to complete that project in an effort to be ready to pluck in play a 2027 quarterback.
So you heard Todd McShay and his partner, Steve Mensch, who, by the way, played Division I offensive line. So when he talks about offensive line play...
I didn't know that. Is he a Browns fan?
Not a Browns fan, no.
Oh. He just doesn't think it's a good pick at 6.
No, he's very low on Kadyn Proctor. So I did a little of my own research. I went to all the most updated big boards I could find to see the range of where people kind of view Proctor as a prospect. And it ranges wildly. Yeah. Steve, if you want to take this here full. The Athletic, in their consensus big board, had Proctor as a 23rd overall prospect, the 4th offensive tackle. McShay, in his personal big board, had him as the number 31 prospect, the 5th offensive tackle. Daniel Jeremiah, number 22, the 4th tackle. Mel Kiper Jr. had him up at number 14, but still his 4th offensive tackle. And the CBS crew had him as the 4th overall best prospect and their number 1 offensive tackle. He's huge. He's athletic, has some technique issues, we could say. But at 6, Bo, is he worth the risk for that kind of player?
With the caveat that I'd never heard of this guy before a week ago, because I don't know enough about him personally.
Proctor?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm being totally honest. What I'll say, though, from what I've heard here, is that it seemed I don't like the idea of taking a guy with this many question marks with the 6th pick in the draft. Like, if I'm taking you 6th, I'm not saying you have to be a finished product, but there can't be this, okay, this is an issue, and this is an issue, and this is an issue. There could be some things to clean up, but, like, I get it, he's a big dude. The fact that he was, at one point last year, 400 pounds, that's a major concern.
Yeah.
That's a major red flag. We're having the same problem with DeJuan Jones. And he was a 4th-round pick. So if that flops, okay, he was a 4th-round pick. It just seems like the guy better be closer to a sure thing if I'm going to take him at 6. That's how I see it.
Under no circumstances. Under none.
You don't like this guy?
No. I mean, I think if you talk about more than 24, I think you got a better chance of trying to convince me that if he's the 4th tackle on the board. But the guy talked about it. When you watch him, and I started looking at him a year and a half ago. Problem is that you already have this. It's DeJuan Jones. Like, DeJuan Jones, but I think DeJuan Jones is a better pass protector than he is. DeJuan Jones is big. He had the weight issues. The thing I see with Proctor is he oversets a lot.
What does that mean? Oversets?
Like when he's getting out to try to punch the pass rusher, he oversets, meaning that he's over aggressive to outside protection. So he opens himself up to an inside move. So guys like Myles Garrett with the Euro step,
especially quick guys,
twitchy guys. He struggles to move his feet.
Yeah.
Also, the weight issue is a thing that will compound the issue because he's bigger. When you get that weight moving one way, it ain't coming back the other way. Like, that's why he's able to be moved around like that. And plus, he has deficiencies in the run game too. Like, he plays a little high. His pad level is not the most optimum because he's a massive human being. That's why a lot of people say his skill set is more tailored to being a guard, because if you're a guard and you overset, at least you got maybe a center or somebody that can punch and it's in the phone booth and you can recover. But on the edge, when you're on the edge, there's no way to mask that. Like, if you get beat, you get beat.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good.
If you think DeJuan Jones is better, I wouldn't even consider him at 24. If that's the case.
I think DeJuan Jones is a better pass protector at this point.
But DeJuan where? DeJuan on the left side was an absolute disaster. And I know it was only a couple of games, but they were already moving him back to the right side.
Here's the problem. And I don't trust DeJuan Jones.
I don't either.
So, like, my thing is, like, It ain't saying that DeJuan is some all-star. Like, I'm saying that DeJuan has been a question mark and you can't trust him. But how you going to take this guy?
But that is actually why I think that there's merit to this, because they love DeJuan. Well, it's the same thing. So you can fall in love with the size of the guy and feel like, if you've got George Warhop, I think that they feel like George can coach him up. I think Callahan, we know, is probably the gold standard of offensive line coaches. In talking to various offensive linemen, Warhop's not far behind him. Like, he's very well respected.
Yeah.
So if you,
but Jason, they took DeJuan Jones in the 4th round.
I'm with you. I don't like this, but I'm just saying, I'm connecting the dots of, like, if they like DeJuan, this is the same type of massive hulking body structure.
And they drafted Jed Wills.
They did.
And he's an Alabama tackle, and he played on the right side, and he had some issues. And
did he play right tackle in college or left?
No, 40 starts at left tackle.
Left.
Yeah. The DeJuan fell because of weight concerns and because of maturity issues and because of, can he keep his weight under control?
Sure, right.
When you tell me that Proctor was up over 400 pounds,
to me that's
I'm up near 400. They didn't say over. They said
if that's true, that's alarming because done for me.
That's when we kept looking at DeJuan going, he can't move. Like, why can't DeJuan move? Well, the reason he couldn't move is because he was 405 pounds.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go through that again. That's why I said in the last segment, if we're talking to trade down to 12, you feel a little bit better about it there. But I don't love the idea of Proctor.
I take Monroe Freeling. If you was going to take a project, at least Freeling is younger. He looks like he can project. He looks like he has much better mobility. He don't have to worry about weight concerns. He still played in the SEC. And on top of that, you got a guy that you can get to the second contract if you hit, that's still in his prime at 25 years old. So I take a chance on him, and I even think that's a little bit of a reach because he hasn't played that many games.
Right.
There ain't Joe Thomas in this draft. There is no. When I was in Arizona, like, you could poke holes in every one of these linemen. Like, there is no such thing as, like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
So again, like, here we go. The Browns have a top 10 pick.
Right. And there's no clear answer.
And there's no, like, they have these glaring deficiencies in these positions of need, and there's no great fit for where they are.
Right.
It's just their luck. You can say the same thing about receiver, frankly. Like, you punch holes in all these guys. There is no great receiver that they feel like is going to be there at 6.
And so maybe that's why you take Cardinal Tate, because maybe he's the safest play of them all.
Tate, he's good. Like, he's good. He'll help them, but he's not quite the class of some of the other Ohio State receivers that have been through there.
Mike, go ahead.
I'm Proctor. Just a couple of things real quick. I agree with you. At 6, I think it's just too much of a risk. I understand his upside may be crazy high, but at 6, I can't take a guy with that many flaws. And I want to point out this picture. Do you see what he's doing in this picture, Bull?
Running the football.
He's carrying the football.
Oh, God.
So last year, Bama actually gave him multiple carries and threw a screen pass to him against Georgia.
And it worked.
He's an athletic freakazoid. Bruce Feldman does his freak list. Kadyn Proctor was number 4 on Bruce Feldman's athletic freak list. This dude has traits, athleticism, and just the agileness for a big man that you can't teach. But at 6, it just feels too high for a guy with legitimate flaws in his game. And, G, your point of, well, if it doesn't work out, you can always move him to guard. I'm just not drafting a potential guard at 6. I can't sell myself on that. I'm sorry.
I think the rule should be if I'm not 100% sure what your position is, I can't take you in the top 10.
I don't know. I think he's too big for guard.
Yeah, even at guard, look. That's the thing. We talk about this. Hey, listen, DeJuan Jones. You ever see him play basketball? Remember that was going around and like
it's going around again.
So now it's like it's crazy because I love all of this about him. Right? I love the size. I love the fact that he can move, and he is an athletic freak, and he killed it at the combine. But when you talk about Myles Garrett and Max Crosby and Micah Parsons and all these other dudes, these guys are out there playing basketball on the edge. Yeah. These guys are creating moves and spins and Euro steps. If you don't have the mobility and the center of gravity to keep up, I actually, if I'm a defensive end, I like seeing bigger guys because I feel like I can out-athlete you. I know where I'm going, you don't. Yeah. And if he can't get his hands on you, like if he went against Myles Garrett, it would be, and I know it's Myles Garrett.
Yeah, in fairness to
anybody, if anybody. Yeah. But some of these pass rushers with that technique, playing that high, it would be, what did the Browns really do?
I bet you if you ask Myles Garrett, and I can't think of off the top of my head, but I bet you if you ask Myles Garrett, like, okay, who does give you the toughest matchup? It might not necessarily be the biggest guy.
It's like Trent Williams does a good job against him, and Trent Williams is like, he ain't massive. You know, he just.
I think Trent Williams giant. Hold on.
He's pretty good size, Trent.
Yeah.
Trent Williams is 6'6", 325.
But 325 is not crazy massive.
I mean, 325. I mean, I was 325 a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
All in the face.
I'm still 325.
He's not 365, granted, but let's not say 6'6", 325.
Like, now.
All offensive linemen are huge.
Fanu and Lamu, like, you know what I'm saying? When I say big, I'm thinking of like Eric Williams and Nate, or what's the name?
Trent Brown, 6'8", 350.
Yeah, some of them dudes are 6'8" with the long. So those guys,
Orlando Brown.
The athletic dudes, the athletic build with the long arms is the ones that give you the problem because they can really mirror you in a really short, condensed space, but they can punch and they can lock out on you from here. So you're not even really getting to their body to even get to your move to close the distance. So I hated going against athletic dudes that wasn't as big because they have good positioning. But the thing about these top tackles, the scary part about it is if in 2 years you looked in that list, there could be 2 of these guys that would be all pros.
Yep.
But you can pick any two.
Figure out which 2.
But which 2 is it?
2 will bust, 2 will be great, and 2 will just be mid.
Yeah. What's the final thought?
Last thing on Proctor, then we'll take a break and play some no fence riders of the Guardians. But, the hope is Proctor has the crazy long arms. He is a crazy athlete. He can become that. You just got to be ready to work through some growing pains and hope you can coach him up. And last thing, we know Andrew Berry has those age guardrails on all his draft picks.
Yeah.
The history says he likes younger guys early with high upside and potential. Kadyn Proctor doesn't turn 21 for another couple weeks. So he certainly fits the young player in the guardrail at the position where you can bank on some traits.
All right.